All right, this demo is going to go through Illustrator. We're going to get into working with type. So you're going to add a new artboard. So we'll go click on the one that you want to add it next to. So right now I'm on the middle one. You can see there's a tiny little black border going around. So I'm going to click on this. You can see now my artboard is selected. Artboard 2, and then I'm going to do the plus, and that's just going to add a new one right there. And then I'm going to click off of artboard. All right. Now, since you're on a different artboard, you're also going to add a new layer so that what we do is separate from what we've already done. So click on the plus. All right. So working with type. On the left side, we've got the T, the type tool. We've got lots of options. I'm going to show you just a few to start. So if we just do the regular type tool, two ways that you can work with it. One, when you click down once, it's going to put in default text. So go ahead and type in something there. And what's nice about this is when you go to the regular selection tool, you'll want to hold shift, otherwise it's going to distort it. Okay, there we go. Click and drag from the corner, and that's how you'll make it bigger, which is really nice and easy. And then if you double click on it to highlight it, we've got character options over here. You also have character options on the top, so you can decide which one you'd rather work from. Then it's going to show you all of your options. You might not have all of the fonts that I have because I've downloaded some from Adobe Fonts, and I'll show you how to do that in another tutorial. Otherwise, you can click here, and I believe it'll if you click Find More, I think it'll take you directly to the website to download more. But when you hover over the character, the font, it's going to show you a preview of it. So you can find one that you want to use. All right, and this is great for just short snippets of words, headlines, titles, things like that. So not a long body of text. All right, so what I'm going to show you next is going to be for like more of a paragraph, something that's going to have a sentence or two. So if you click and drag, go ahead and click and drag, you're going to see it creates this box, and inside is going to put default text in paragraph form. So you can keep that there. That's totally fine. And what you'll notice is when you click and drag now, I'm going to zoom in. When you click and drag now, you're going to see that it's going to change the size of that box. So whatever your default size is that you make it, that's what it's going to work with. And then if you make it smaller, it's going to put that little red box there, little red plus, showing you that you have more text that you can't see. All right, so what can we do with these? These are great for just like basics of things that you would do on a poster or whatever you're designing. But I'm going to show you how you can manipulate them further and what you can do more with them. So first thing I'm going to show you is just like a very basic pen tool. We'll go more into the pen tool with our next skill builder. But pen tool, you can see I'm hovering over it right here. There are some options underneath there that we've used with adding and deleting anchor points with our shapes. But how this works is you just want to click down once, and that's going to create an anchor point. I'm going to try that again. There we go. There's my anchor point. And then I'm not clicking or holding. I'm just moving my mouse or moving my finger on the trackpad. And wherever I go and click down, it's going to make a new anchor point. All right. So right now it looks like this. So I'm going to get this to the end. And I'm going to double click at the end, and that should stop it. If it doesn't, you can always press escape. All right. So right now this is an interesting shape that I've got here, but the reason it's doing it is because it has a fill, not a stroke on it. So we're actually going to switch those. That's how you want it to look, okay? So you should either make sure you don't have a fill to start or switch it once you've actually created it. So I have a stroke. I have a line that follows this essentially, okay? If I click on the stroke right here and I do no stroke, then when I click off of it, I wouldn't see it. In this case, we want to be able to see it. All right, so pen tool, this has just created a line for us. Next, we're going to go to T. We're going to go to the type on path tool right here. You can see it's got a little wavy line and then my cursor. And when I click, let's try this again. When I click directly on the path, it's going to put my default text or the default text of the program directly into or onto the line based on where I started. So I started this way. So that's where it started. And then you can always go back and you can add your own text in there. This is not a great font for something like this. It could work, but I would want to come and choose something different, something that fit on here just a little bit better. I like this one. All right, and then a couple other things about characters. You've got, usually a lot of the characters have different options. In this case, it's already bolded, so it's just going to be regular. Sizes, spacing, we'll talk a little bit about this. I didn't mention this with the paragraph, but just like in Microsoft Word or Google Doc, you can have your paragraph centered, aligned to the right, or spaced out. So justified from the left and right and spaced out that way. Okay, so those might be some options that you want to take. All right, so we've typed on a path, which is cool. Shows me that I'm just missing a little bit of my text there, which is just fine. All right, so next we're going to do another type on path. This time what I want you to do is make a circle. So go to the ellipse tool, hold shift, click and drag. I'm going to keep this filled for the moment because you'll see what happens once you put the type on. So make your circle, then go back to the T, and then we're going to click and hold on this, and we're going to do type on path again. We're going to align this. And the way I know it's ready is when I hover over this, it says in pink letters, path. And so you want to click where you want to start. So if I wanted something to curve around here, I would click there, and then I would type in, this is Raskin's circle. I don't know, type whatever you want on there. Is here. Okay, and then so you could have it for part of it or have it go all the way around. And then you can modify this as well. So you can take this, you can kind of move it around and flip it around. So you just gotta find the right piece to do that. We've got these lines here. I'm going to pause this just for a second. Okay, it wasn't working how I wanted, so I just paused it for a moment. Okay, we're back. So with your regular selection, you can change the size. But once we go to that direct selection, so that white selection tool, you've got some more options. So if you just hover over, and I'm going to try and zoom in to see if that shows up better. Okay, so when I hover over here, that's showing me an arrow. And what's that's showing me is I can move this to where I want. That's my starting point, okay? Now, while that's happening is this other line right here is the ending point. So if I click and drag here, and I move this around, you can see it's going to get cut off because that's where I've ended it. But I can move this back and I can even out my letters. So that's how you would move that around. Then on the other side, there's this line right here. And what that does is that takes it and that flips it if you want it to go inside of your circle. So go ahead and just play and move and just shift that text around so you can see how that works. All right, now one thing that's a little bit tricky about adding the type on this is that your circle does go away once you have the text in there. So if you want to have a circle and you want to have text going around it, make a circle first and then duplicate it. So for example, if I want to have like a color here or even just a stroke, so maybe I'm going to make this a color. What's my fill? I'm going to switch these and then make my fill no fill. Okay, so maybe I want that color to stay there. I just would want to do my Alt, click and drag to make a separate circle. Get that lined up exactly. And then I could come to type on path, and then it would put it on there, and then it would also keep my circle there. So you'll have to think about that ahead of time if that's something that you want to do. All right, last thing you're going to do is I'm going to have you make a shape. I recommend a circle. You could try something else. Click and drag, and then we'll go to the T, the text, and you're going to do type, area type tool. Once again, you can click. I think you have to click on the edge here. Yep, you got to have that path show up. And then you can have text go inside of something. This works well if you have it like center justified, or if you have aligning to the edge. So that's another option, is to be able to use the text inside. So go ahead and choose a shape and do text, area text, and you can save here. We have one last part, but go ahead and save what you have right now.